All right, boys, Barcelona won today. It was not a clean performance and not the easiest thing I've ever seen, but a W is a W, and that's what we got. That's the important takeaway here. But we did see a lot of experimentation for the first time in a very long time, which is plenty to remark on there. And I think we have to take what we saw today and kind of extrapolate that into the Inter Milan match. That is obviously this weekend. Inter Milan played today as well. I believe they won 1-0, or at least they were in the 84th minute. And the first and foremost thing I'm going to do right before I compare them is say that Inter was able to completely play a different 11, which Barcelona was not really able to do in the same way today. We started off with a lot of guys that we haven't seen in a while. First and foremost, Ter Stegen, right? In net for the first time since the Monaco match, I believe, was insane. And there's plenty to talk about for him. Then we saw Danny Rodriguez, who's a pretty highly touted winger, not necessarily the most potential, but in a pretty good spot to be maybe a squad player for FC Barcelona in the future, but a talented winger who can take on players and score the occasional goal as well, and just be threatening on the wing, kind of like Lamine is, and that we don't have a profile of in the squad besides Lamine, really. Someone who can take somebody on one-on-one. That's what Danny is. That's what he looked like today. Unfortunately, he went out to an injury, but we're going to get to everybody as we walk through this. We also saw Pau Victor start, and Christensen got another start. Hector Fort got a full start on the right side again, and you saw the comparison between him and Gerard Martin today too. So I think he gave us a better idea of the two different players and what they can do, and I think that's good. And sadly, Pedri still started next to Gavi. I understand why, because in that first half, it was a lot of guys that don't really play very often playing together, and we looked a little all over the place. We've seen that this season. We saw it from them last season under Xavi. It's kind of just what happens when a bunch of guys that don't play often together play together. It was a little all over the place. We ended up conceding and conceded a fair few chances to them. But I also think this match today against Valladolid, yes, it's not the best. It's actually the worst team in La Liga. They played in a way I think we're going to see Inter play, where they're going to sit back, defend those tight spaces well, and the only way we're going to be able to get those connects is to play the ball fast and just to be decisive with our runs and our touches. Everything has to be really clean. That's how Lamine was able to score against Inter. That's why he was so dangerous, and that's why he looked so good today when he came on. I think when Fermin came on too, Fermin looked great, or did Fermin started, but I think their connections look really good because they are able to make quick and decisive decisions in a way that I think a lot of the guys don't necessarily do. And it ended up going a certain way. We'll go right into the ratings, I think, from here, because the game we ended up winning. We got 3 points, and that's the important part, but wasn't the cleanest. First half, first and foremost, it definitely wasn't. But Ter Stegen was fine today. I think he made the one save for Latasa, where he kind of sticks his hand out at the maybe 65th minute mark, and it was a fine save. It was a solid save. He also made a couple really good passes, which I think he looked better than Chesney did there. Otherwise, not great. I think on the goal, I'm really disappointed in him. People are going to meme that, and I understand it too. He didn't come out for it. It barely looked like he tried to get it. He kind of gave up. He pulled his hand down, and they scored. I don't know. You can't do that when you're under so much criticism like he is, but whatever. It is what it is. He did it and went in. They had to kind of fight back from there, put some more pressure on Hansi, but I actually liked that it did, because I think if it hadn't, we probably would have played the same lineup, and I think it was good to see these guys get a little bit of confidence, play well together. I think everyone looked really good once we made the changes going into the second half, and the back line overall I think looked pretty solid together. Not perfect, not the greatest. I think Araujo and Christensen, though Araujo did get a yellow card rather unnecessarily, he was able to make a couple of fantastic tackles, as he always does, honestly, when he's in, and didn't really make any other mistakes besides that yellow card. Christensen, I thought, looked great. Much better on the ball than Araujo was, and pretty solid in the air and everything. He actually got a yellow card as well. That was, I think, an unfortunate call by the ref, but it is what it is. Martin, I don't think he looked great today. Ended up getting an assist. And Araujo and Christensen, I'll give them both probably 7.5. I thought they were pretty good. They were pretty solid with their tackles. Araujo looked really fast, too. My guy, Ron looked really athletic today in a really good way. So in a way I think it's going to be important against Inter, especially if Lautaro Martinez comes back, which he very well might. We're hearing stuff about it. I don't know what kind of PEDs they're giving them. They must be giving the Inter guys the PEDs that Lamine's taken. I don't know what's going on here, but whatever, right? Whatever. I think Martin was okay. He's not great going forward. He's able to put those like square passes in pretty well, but that's like all he can do. Really, he's not going to create space from his defender. He can make a good run here and there, but really he's going to cut the ball inside, and that worked when Pau Victor opened up that space for Fermin Lopez. I scored that was the second goal. It was a great finish from Fermin. It was a good ball from Martin, and then Pau Victor did a great job opening that space up for him. Outside of that, though, I think he's just rather mid, and against a better defending team like Inter Milan, one of the best defensive teams in the Champions League this season. Not in Serie A, but that's because there's a lot more games. They don't play their best 11 in Serie A a lot. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for Martin to do anything, so I think we really need Balde to be back. We're hearing reports that he should be. Nothing is confirmed. We never know with Barcelona. Hopefully they inject him with some whatever and get him in the lineup, though, because I think having that creativity will be huge for breaking down that back line with these guys. So Martin, I'll probably give him like a 6.5 for the assist, but it kind of looked flat for a while until at least the better guys came on. And then in the middle, Pedri and Gavi. I think Pedri basically did everything in the first half. He was on the ball. He lost the ball a couple times too. But he was responsible for everything. He was maintaining tempo and trying to orchestrate these guys that don't really play together, don't play for this team that often. It didn't look great, but I think it looked good enough. And I'm kind of glad he got taken out because I actually think Frankie looked really, really good today when he did come in for Frankie in the second half. But Pedri was fine. I think a 7.5 is probably fair. Gavi, I think, is 7 as well. Put a couple really good tackles in there in the first half. I was a little worried because he was on a yellow card or was on yellow card accumulation. So if he got another, he would have missed the Madrid match. It didn't happen, so he's fine. He's good to go for the Madrid match. And he looked fine. I think a 7 is probably pretty fair, pretty reasonable for him. Wasn't groundbreaking in the attacking third when he did get on the ball, but I think he was solid. He tried a couple things, which is more than I think I could say for him in recent matches. So overall, fine performance from him. Fermin, I thought Fermin was great. I think he's so good in certain games where he can find a little bit more space and create a little, I don't know, just realm of disaster around him. He's always doing something. He's always messing with somebody. He got a little knock, as did Gavi. I think they're all probably okay. Gavi probably saw Eric Garcia coming in. I'm hoping nothing big. You saw Ron take a hit and start limping for a second. Kubarsi ended up standing up, but nothing too bad. So hopefully these injuries don't really pop up much more. But for me, and back to him, I'll give him like a 7.5 and 8. I think the finish was really good. Fine performance from him. And then the front three going in was what? It was Pau Victor, Danny Rodriguez, and then someone else I am forgetting, and I'm sorry that I'm forgetting them. But we'll move forward. I think Pau Victor looks much more like a striker than Ferran Torres does. He wasn't phenomenal. He tried the bicycle kick, but just the way he took the bicycle kick, the way he went for a couple headers and attacked space, opened up the space for Fermin, he feels like a striker in a way that Ferran Torres just doesn't. He just, I don't know. I feel like Pau Victor might be a better Lewandowski replacement against Inter Milan. And it's not something I think is going to happen, but I think it is something that would probably be better maybe for this team if they are looking for someone to fill the spaces similarly to the way Lewandowski would. That doesn't mean he's going to finish like him or even connect like him. And I don't think he'll connect as well as Ferran by any means, but he did look pretty good today. And I would like seeing Ferran as a super sub, so I think that Pau Victor option, maybe because he played so well, maybe Hansi's thinking about it. I don't really think he is, but he could very well be. He could very well be. Pau Victor overall 7.5. I think he looked pretty good. Didn't really come out with anything, but solid. Danny Rodriguez, unfortunate debut for him in La Liga today. He's a good player. He's an exciting player. It's really unfortunate. He's very injury prone. He just came back from injury. And I don't know. When you have an injury prone backup player, usually they don't end up getting much of an appearance and they end up getting shipped off because these guys aren't needed very often. And when they are needed, they have to be there. And if they're not going to get any opportunities. They're going to leave. And I'm worried that's going to happen. That's going to be what happens to Danny. I think he's 19. So he's still pretty young, but we'll see what happens. Overall, took on guys, took a couple shots. Nothing really came out of it. So I'll give him, a 6.5, 7. Oh yeah, Ansu Fati started on the left wing, but basically played as a second striker. Ansu, I thought he looked decent. I think it's really unfortunate for both Danny and Ansu that they played in a game without all the starters because it puts more pressure on them and it makes it's going to make them look worse unless they're spectacular, which they're almost certainly not going to be because they're not used to playing a ton. It makes it very difficult for them. And I think Ansu looked pretty solid. Again, took a couple really good shots. Goalkeeper made a good save for one of the breakaway opportunities that Ansu had. And I thought Ansu was pretty good. Nothing great. He's not going to really take on anybody, but he can run into space. He can link up pretty well. You see him wanting to do those 1-2s a lot more than Rafinha does. But he's not really going to play a ball in behind that's too dangerous. And I actually liked when he was wider, when he was the guy providing the width and it wasn't Gerard Martin, shocker. But again, didn't really come to anything and ended up going off at halftime. Unfortunate, but I do think the team got so much better. I think Hansi made the right choice. It's tough because he started Pedri, and we want to see him get a rest. He played so much football. But we also want to win La Liga. So I also think in a game like this doesn't throw a lot of stress on them. And maybe it could have, but I don't think it did. I think Pedri got more stress than anybody in the second half. I think these guys controlled the game. I think they were comfortable, and we saw them not really attack like they normally do. They were kind of just, I think it's because Frankie and Christensen and Eric Garcia were all out there, and they were kind of just rotating the ball around. Frankie, I thought he looked fantastic when he came in. He was controlling tempo and safe and just athletic and happy. He looked great today. One of the best players in the second half behind Lamine. I'd probably give him like an 8.5 and 9. I think Frankie was that good. We also saw Danny Olmo ended up coming in for Fermin, and I think Danny Olmo looks pretty good as well. Oh no, Danny didn't come on for Fermin. He came on for Pau Victor. Danny looked pretty solid. Was dangerous a couple times, got fouled a couple times, went down a couple times, did his thing. But I think he did look pretty good. We want to see more end product from him. When you spend 60 million, that's what you want to see. And with him not playing as often, this is a game we need some numbers from him. And that didn't come today. But Rafinha came on as well. And I thought Rafa was really good today as well, running into space, playing some fantastic balls between him and Lamine. And maybe Eric Garcia played one really good one to Rafinha on the left that was dirty. They linked up well. They looked like starters. They looked like guys that are some of the best players in the world playing against the worst team in La Liga. It looked like that for a while. And I had to check myself and remind myself that we were only up by 1. But they did scrape it away. Rafinha scored. And, it is the deflection, a little Jude Bellingham-esque, but I'll take it, right? A win's a win. 3 points is 3 points. Puts pressure on Madrid against a very tough Celta Vigo side, a team they probably should have lost to in the Copa del Rey. And I think Lamine was fantastic. He was so good. He was so good. He's so good at this game. He could be my man of the match. You could give it to Fermin. You could give it to Rafinha. I don't really care. Any of these guys. You could give it to Frankie even. I think Frankie's very deserving of it, but I'd probably give it to Lamine because he was just a little agent of chaos over there. And I want to give credit to ESPN commentators. The Spanish guy, he knows what he's talking about, and he gives a lot of cool insights about the fullback that was playing against Lamine, defending Lamine the whole time, was from the Barça Academy, from Mataró, which is where Lamine is from, and they're very good friends and everything. I think that's a cool little tidbit that we got to hear, but we don't hear that very often. ESPN also sucks. The fact that the stream wasn't working in the beginning here is ridiculous, and then it went out for the Copa del Rey last week. There's so much to complain about. I wanted to compliment them for that. That was pretty cool. But overall, a win's a win, puts pressure on Madrid. That's what we wanted to see. And I think it's a good enough game going into Inter that we have a little bit of rest now. And the guys played well against a team that's going to play relatively similarly to Inter, probably. So that being said, thank you guys for watching. And yeah, I'll see you guys all in the next one. Visca Barça. Peace, boys.